Well, this is another video in my series on what do you do creative with leftovers. So let me set this up for you. This is going to be beef stew from leftovers. I have in my pan here a half cup of beef tallow. Now where I got the beef tallow was I made beef bone broth and I saved the tallow. So that's going to be how we start. Be right back. Okay, this tallow is hot. I'm going to add 2 peeled and chunked potatoes. One medium onion. A sprinkle, about a half teaspoonful of my dried rosemary. This is a half teaspoonful of salt. And this is a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. I'm using home canned carrots with this, so I'm not putting them in yet. What I'm doing is I'm going to brown the onions and the potatoes in the beef tallow for the flavor before I add the rest of the ingredients. So we'll cover this up and I'll be back. Well, let's check and see what we have here. Yes. Now, let me explain why I'm doing this in a different order than you would normally do beef stew made from scratch. I have leftover roast beef, and it's pretty much had the juice cooked out of it. When you normally make beef stew, you depend on the juices in the beef to make your gravy and the richness. So we don't have that. This is leftover roast beef, and I don't want to waste it, not with the price of beef. So I'm going to make a beef stew, but I'm going to go about it a little backwards from what we normally do. So I would have put my carrots in, except I'm using home canned carrots. I put a half cup of fat. I'm now going to sprinkle a half cup of flour, and I may actually have to add just a little bit more fat. If you don't have the beef tallow, then you can use lard or you can use butter. I'm going to stir that in, and yes, I'm crunching the potatoes up into small pieces. And as always, we're going to let this cook a little bit to cook away the pasty flavor of the flour. About a minute. Okay, now we're going to pour in about a quart of beef bone broth. You can use bouillon. You can even use packaged stock, but I make beef bone broth to have just for these occasions. And you can find my video for beef bone broth to see how that's done. Okay, now I'm going to add, I have here about a pound of chopped up leftover sirloin tip roast. And I'm going to let it simmer just a little bit. Soften up, get juicy. Maybe 5 minutes, I'll be back. Okay, let's look. Oh yes. I can see the difference in that beef. Last ingredients I have here, a pint of home canned baby carrots. I drained the juice off. And I have here, it's about 3/4 of a cup, a half to 3/4 of frozen green peas. All that's left to do is wait. Well, here we go. This is going to be a yummy beef stew, and it's going to taste like we cooked it all day. Mostly because we made it with beef broth that had been cooked all day. I'm going to plate this up and then chow down. Here you go, homemade beef stew. Tastes just like you've cooked it all day long, and we made this in about 20 minutes. Something perfect for after work, anytime you're in a hurry, and it's a wonderful use of your leftovers, because we all need creative ways to use leftovers. Thank you for joining us on Debbie's Back Porch. See you again tomorrow.